Hi everyone, I am Deborah Jessyfina. So last week, we have chosen the concept decomposition. We have embedded this concept in our lesson plan of strong story writing. This lesson plan is targeted to the high school students at age around 13 to 17 years old with intermediate proficiency of English. The time required for this lesson plan is 2 period lessons around 70 minutes. In this lesson, students act as storytellers by writing chapters of a story collaboratively. Each member writes one chapter independently that starts and ends with fixed story points. So first, we are going to have a warm-up activity which will ask the students a question and they are going to answer the question based on their point of view. We will instruct the students to answer the question, what might be hard or easy about writing a story with someone else when you cannot talk to each other first. This is to encourage them to consider how point of view is important when writing creatively. Students can respond to this question by doing a journaling. Students can write in their journals about the pros and cons of the question asked, what might be hard and what might be easy. This could take about 5 to 15 minutes to conduct. So next, we will start with our first activity, which is writing the chapters of the story. In this activity, students will be divided into groups according to how many chapters there are. Okay, each student writes their own chapter without consulting or sharing with the other students. Each chapter must advance the story by starting from the previous story point and ending at the next story point. For this activity, I will explain more by using the example from the lesson plan. Okay, this is the example from the lesson plan. The teacher needs to create a set of story points for the student. Okay, this is the example of story points. Students will divide themselves according to the story point. For example, student 1 will handle story point and the student will create chapter 1 with the starting of "How are you doing today?" said Mom. They will create their own story based on this chapter. The student 2 will start the chapter by using story point 2, which is "Finally, I finished my breakfast and walked to the bus stop." Then student 3 will start this chapter by using story point 3, and it was just not a very good day for me. And so the student 4 and student 5 that will start the chapter with story point 4, I was happy when I heard what my teacher said about my project. And the ending story point 5, it was nice that I got rewarded for my hard work. Each student will create the chapter individually with no discussion. So this is the explanation for activity 1. Next will be activity 2.
So hi, I am Michael and I will be explaining on activity 2. So activity 2 is about creating a logical and cohesive. So for this activity, everybody in the group reads all of the chapters for that group, paying attention to the differences. The group picks one chapter as the anchor and they will make minimal changes to that chapter. The group revises the other chapters so that they logically fit with the anchor chapter. So while revising the chapters, try to keep each chapter as unique as possible. The final goal is to make the entire story more cohesive by blending each chapter and not to rewrite everyone's chapter. So actually, a note to the teacher is that the students will take turns reading their individual story chapters in order and then collaborate to make the story logical and cohesive. So let your students know that it's normal and expected that the chapters will not make sense in the context of each other until they start to adjust the inconsistency. So during this activity, decomposition actually happens. So actually, what is decomposition? Decomposition is the breaking down of data, processes, or problems into smaller, manageable parts. So in this activity, students will combine their separate chapters into a single story. The chapters might be radically different, requiring students to do a decomposition of the story points, point of view, and overall story. So finally, we will come to the last activity, which is the post-writing. So for this, we will be doing a wrap-up activity, which is actually an analysis and reflection. So it will take around 10 minutes to do this. So students will discuss what went wrong with creating their stories and how the task could have been organized to make those problems less likely. So as a teacher, you can actually have students to journal and answer to this question and evaluate based on the depth and honesty of their answers. So the question example can be like this. Individually, reflect on this activity. Describe how collaboration makes a task easier and describe the challenges that collaboration can create. From what you learn in this activity, how would you plan or organize the next collaborative project you participate in? So that's the end from both of us. So yeah, thank you.